This is the heartbreaking story of 29-year-old Tomika Pullins, a young woman from DeKalb County, Georgia, whose life took a tragic turn after giving her all to someone she cared for deeply. Tomika chose love with an open heart, even when others questioned her decision, because the man she married, 48-year-old William Almond, was much older and facing serious health challenges, including cancer and kidney disease. His health was declining, yet Tomika remained devoted. She stood by him, supported him, and even helped him run his small car washing business despite the strain in their lives. But sadly, the care she offered was not returned in the way she deserved. On June 13, 2025, William went to the apartment building on Columbia Drive in DeKalb County, Georgia, where Tomika had been staying with her family. There, he carried out an act that would change their family forever. He fired shots into the apartment, injuring both Tomika and her 7-year-old niece, Dior Scott. By the time police arrived, both Tomika and little Dior had lost their lives, while William had already fled the scene. What followed was a wave of sorrow that rippled through the family and the community, leaving behind a story that is difficult to hear but important to tell. This is indeed a deeply sad and emotional case. Welcome to Milan Stories. Let us begin the story of Tomika Pullins with care and respect. Tomika Pullins was born in 1996 in Stone Mountain, Georgia, to her parents Nikita Bruce and Timothy Pullins. She grew up in a modest, hardworking household where every resource was stretched to support the family. Tomika was known for being a little shy, naturally funny, and incredibly determined. She had several siblings, though their personal details are not publicly documented. From a young age, Tomika learned how to cope with challenges and carry herself with quiet resilience. She attended Stone Mountain High School, completed her studies, and by the age of 22, she was already employed at a hospital. During this time, she settled into adulthood and later met a man named William Almond. William was nearly 40 years old and worked as a truck driver. His health, unfortunately, was fragile. He faced heart issues, kidney complications, cancer, and frequent hospital visits. Despite this, William took a strong interest in Tomika and believed in her potential. He showed her affection and stability, and Tomika, appreciating the effort he put into their relationship, fell in love with him. Their significant age difference did not matter to her. Their relationship grew, and in 2020, they made things official and got married. The union surprised many, family and friends alike, because of how different they seemed on the surface. But the couple continued building their life together. Tomika found work as a security officer, William had a car washing business, and together they even rented out rooms in their home to bring in extra income. During her free time, Tomika often helped William with his work. They shared snapshots of their life on Facebook, selfies, cheerful videos, and posts celebrating the bond they believed they had. But over time, disagreements started showing up. Small issues became arguments, and their lifestyles weren't always in harmony. Then, in 2022, William experienced a life-altering event when he was shot and needed emergency medical care. Doctors discovered the injury had affected his bladder. Through it all, Tomika stayed by his side. After this, Tomika noticed changes in William. He became unpredictable, struggling with patience and self-control. His moods shifted quickly. Moments of affection were followed by tense and worrying episodes. In October 2024, William was hospitalized again, this time at St. Joseph Medical Hospital, where he was diagnosed with kidney failure. Instead of focusing on his recovery, he turned to social media, posting emotional videos aimed at his family and expressing frustration and anger. Tomika tried to remain supportive, but things worsened. In January 2025, during a tense moment, William pointed a firearm at her because she did not laugh at a joke he made. He struck her, causing a cut on her forehead. A few months later, in April, he pushed open a bedroom window and leaned inside unexpectedly. And by June 6, he again confronted her while armed. Realizing she could no longer live safely in that environment, Tomika left. She moved in with her sister and reached out to authorities for help. However, instead of receiving meaningful protection, she found herself caught in a slow and unresponsive system. Meanwhile, William continued showing up unannounced, breaking in, and making alarming threats. Tomika repeatedly sought help, but nothing substantial happened. At the same time, William's online activity intensified. On May 4, 2025, he posted another message filled with distress and anger. Tomika had been trying to handle his behavior for years, but when she finally told him their relationship was over, he refused to accept it. The separation became the turning point. On June 13, 2025, William made threatening statements online toward Tomika's family, claiming he would come to their home regardless of who was present. He stated plainly that he would not hold back, even if children were there. Later that same day, he went to her family's residence at an apartment complex on Columbia Drive near I-20 in DeKalb County. When he couldn't enter, he broke a window and began firing inside. Tomika, who was 29 years old, and her 7-year-old niece, Dior Scott, were both struck. After the incident, William fled on foot. Around 2:49 p.m., DeKalb County police were alerted to the situation. When officers arrived, they found 2 injured individuals. They attempted life-saving measures, but sadly, both Tomika and Dior passed away at the scene. Others in the apartment were uninjured. Detectives and crime scene teams carefully processed the area, and using surveillance footage, they eventually located William and took him into custody. Tomika's 30th birthday would have been July 3rd. Instead of celebrating, her family gathered at her gravesite. Dior, who should have been preparing for a new school year, became another young life lost too soon. Tomika's mother, Nikita Bruce, expressed deep frustration, saying authorities had been trying to serve William with legal papers, but claimed they couldn't find him, something she believes wasn't handled with enough urgency. She added that William had repeatedly said what he intended to do if Tomika didn't return to him, and tragically, he carried out those threats. On September 5, 2025, a grand jury indicted William Almond on more than 30 charges, including 2 counts of malice murder, 5 counts of felony murder, multiple charges related to aggravated assault, family violence, cruelty to children, criminal damage to property, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, among others. The case is being prosecuted by the District Attorney's Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Unit, and William Almond remains in custody without bond. May Tomika and little Dior rest in peace, and may their loved ones receive the justice and healing they deserve. These are my analysis of the story of Tomika Pullins. The story of Tomika Pullins is not just a tragic incident. It is a layered case that reflects deeper social issues involving love, health struggles, domestic conflict, and gaps in protection systems. Several themes emerge when examining her story closely. 1. A relationship built on care and emotional vulnerability. Tomika entered a relationship with a man significantly older than her, 19 years her senior. Age gap relationships are not inherently harmful, but in this case, the emotional dynamics became unbalanced. William was dealing with serious medical issues such as cancer and kidney disease. Tomika stepped into the role of caregiver at a young age. This can create a dynamic where one person becomes deeply dependent, emotionally and physically. Her loyalty, commitment, and willingness to help him run his car washing business show that she took on responsibilities far beyond what many her age experience. 2. The shift from dependency to possessiveness. As William's health declined, the relationship may have transitioned from affection to fear and instability. His worsening medical condition likely contributed to emotional distress. Declining health, coupled with insecurity, can sometimes lead to irrational behavior or attempts to control others. William's refusal to accept their separation shows that he struggled with letting go. This shift is a classic warning sign in relationships where emotional or physical dependency becomes possessive. 3. Failure of protective systems. Tomika had already separated from William and moved in with her family. Yet despite the tensions, she did not receive adequate protection. There was no mention of successful intervention from authorities. No restraining order or safety measures appear to have been enforced in time. This situation reflects a larger pattern seen in many cases of domestic violence. Victims often reach out for help, but receive responses that are slow, incomplete, or ineffective. 4. The tragic outcome and its symbolism. On June 13, 2025, William went to the home where Tomika was staying and opened fire, resulting in the loss of 29-year-old Tomika, who had once supported and cared for him, and the heartbreaking death of 7-year-old Dior Scott, an innocent child whose life was just beginning. This outcome underlines a painful reality. When threats escalate, the people around the victim, especially children, also become vulnerable. The tragedy did not only end Tomika's life, it created a ripple effect of loss for the entire family. 5. The cycle of domestic violence. This case illustrates several common aspects of domestic violence. It often begins with emotional dependence. It escalates slowly over time. Leaving the relationship can be the most dangerous period. Without proper intervention, threats can become reality. Tomika's story follows this pattern: love, sacrifice, tension, fear, attempted separation, and then irreversible harm. 6. A story that reflects a larger crisis. This is not merely a personal tragedy. It speaks to the dangers faced by women trying to leave harmful relationships, the vulnerability of families when the system moves too slowly, the increasing number of cases where children become unintended victims, the importance of early intervention and support. In many communities, especially those facing economic stress, individuals may remain in difficult relationships because of attachment, responsibility, or hope that things will improve. 7. A reminder of the need for change. Tomika's story becomes a lesson for society. Domestic violence is not always visible from the start. Love can make people endure more than they should. Health struggles can affect mental stability and relationship dynamics. Authorities must respond faster when threats are made. Families must be protected when someone expresses fear or tries to leave. This case urges communities, law enforcement, and support agencies to strengthen systems that protect women and children from preventable harm. The loss of Tomika Pullins and little Dior Scott is a painful reminder of how complex relationships can turn dangerous when health, emotional instability, and desperation collide. Tomika loved deeply, gave generously, and tried to move on when the relationship became unsafe. but she did not receive the protection she desperately needed. Her story is not just about tragedy. It is about the importance of listening to victims, taking threats seriously, and ensuring that those seeking help are not left without support.